What's going on, everybody? It's lunchtime. I'm the Clydesdale. It's lunch with the Clydesdale. Let's go. It's Thursday afternoon. What a day. What a day at work. My gosh. Most of you know who hang out here is that I actually work from home. Today is the day that I get done all my weekly reports. Tomorrow is my one-on-one with my boss. And so I get everything kind of caught up today, reported out, and then we meet about whatever I put in that report tomorrow. And I had my evaluation yesterday, which went fine. Verbally, lots of like kudos and compliments on what I'm doing. But then with the state of Ohio, nobody gets anything more than a meets. So I got meets on everything, but I was told that I'm doing an amazing job. So that was good. But today, my gosh, so I work from home. We have a mandate that we have to have our camera on in any meeting that we go to. So we can't go into a meeting with the camera off and do a Teams meeting without people seeing us. In addition to that, we have to adhere to the dress code policy. And that is head to toe, adhere to the dress code policy. So apparently this morning, the administration is all upset that people are not turning their cameras on in all meetings, and they are cracking down on the dress code for people who are working from home. It boggles my mind that this is the stuff that they're focusing on. I mean, it's a rule. I follow it. I turn my camera on for every meeting. I get all dressed up for every meeting that I have online. Even though it's as stupid can be. And so, but today we were told that they are taking down names of people who are in meetings without their camera on, or that are not adhering to the dress code by the letter of the law, and repercussions will come from that. Lynn, head to toe what? Yeah. You have to adhere to the full dress code, meaning no tennis shoes. You must wear dress pants. No jeans, no sweats, none of that. You must wear a collared shirt. Yeah, you must have your hair done. All of that kind of stuff. It's just, as Train to Live put it, it's just lame. Jose says, but is the job getting done and it's not hurting the business financially? Well, what's crazy about me is all I do is test systems. I don't even meet with the public. I meet with coworkers. The public never sees me. And all I do is when our vendors create an enhancement to our system, I test to make sure it works and doesn't break anything. And so, yeah, but anyway, I do what they tell me, because I could retire today if I wanted to. I won't make a ton of money if I walked out. But I'm just trying to get as much money as I can before I do retire. So I'm just trying to go as long as I can. Lynn says it's called silent firing. Also happened with companies that demanded people go back to the office. That's exactly what we were saying today in our group chats, that not enough people have left. And so they're trying to piss people off so that they walk out the door. But yeah, it's just crazy. So that's why I love these lunch with the Clydesdales, because I can come down here, I get a breath from my day, and I get to hang out with you all. So it's a lot of fun. Just a little housekeeping stuff last night. Kat had her second episode of her show. I listened to it before bed. She's killing it, man. I'm so proud of her. The way that it is not an easy thing to do a show by yourself and talk into a camera. And 2 shows in, she is getting really comfortable, at just kind of hanging out and talking into the camera. And the chats are very, very engaging, which is awesome. And she gets to react to that. And she's so transparent. It's been really, really fun to kind of see her grow with that. And super excited for her. Train to Live says Love Cat Show. Yeah, she's doing great. 2 episodes in. And I think she's deciding to try to keep it in that Wednesday to 5 p.m. Eastern time slot to kind of go forward with that. Lynn says, sorry for that, Scott. I'm going to play by the rules, and I'm going to get as much in as I can before I retire. Thankfully, I am at a qualifying part of retirement, so I could walk out the door today and get a check the rest of my life from the state. Most of it's money I've invested into myself, but yeah, I could walk away today and I'm fine. It's my coworkers that I feel bad for who have not reached that those levels yet to walk away. I'm just old enough that I kind of hit it with the years of service I have earlier than some. So yeah. Corey says Cat Show was great. She's good at storytelling. Yeah. Like I don't even think she used visuals last night. She just was like going off the cuff, talking about the dates she's had, where they've gone wrong, where they've gone right, where she almost, kind of fell for someone and then they kind of backed away and that she just doesn't want to play those games anymore. Like at 52, she's ready to just be honest and blunt about it and let's move forward, which I think is really refreshing to see and hear and stuff you don't see on other shows. So she's doing awesome. She is doing so awesome. One more fun thing before we get into a little bit of CrossFit, and that is I have been working on this project in my spare time. I don't know if people saw this on my Clydesdale CrossFitter Instagram, but my relaxation in my adult life has become Legos, and I never played with Legos as a kid. But as an adult, I just have grown to fall in love with them. And so I've been putting together the DeLorean from the Back to the Future movies. This is the biggest Lego project I have ever done. And it was like 2,500 pieces to put this all together. And it took me probably a little over a month because I dabble at it a little bit here and a little bit there as a relaxation. Something about clicking the bricks together is just soothing to me. So yeah, I put this together. Here's some pictures from it, Marty and Doc. But it has a lot of detail to it. And on the inside, I couldn't get a good picture of it, but like right back here is the actual flux capacitor and it does light up. And then the date boards are on the front. It's very, very detailed. There you can kind of see the flux capacitor. And it does light up and it even has like little charts and stuff in it. But yeah, had a lot of fun with this one as it was coming together at the end. It really was a lot of fun. I'm kind of seeing the little accoutrement that come with it. There you can see the date panels of where you're set, where you're going, where you're at, where you've been. But yeah, had a lot of fun, but now it's complete. So I got to find something else to do. I have one more big Lego set that I haven't opened the box of. And so maybe that'll be mine, but I think I'll wait a few weeks before I dive back in. And it's actually bigger than this one. It's actually a Nintendo with Super Mario Brothers, and you build the cartridge, you build the game set, you build the TV, and you build the controller. But it's almost 3,000 pieces. So anyway, super fun stuff for me. Just wanted to share that. Corey says, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some shit. Yep. That's awesome, Scott. Do you have a place to display it? So you see some like right there, like there's Soldier Field. There's the Pirate Parrot. There's Penn State Stadium. I put some back there. I have some in my living room. It's the only thing my wife lets me put up there. So yeah. Funny story. My daughter worked at O'Reilly Auto Parts, and I called her one day and disguised my voice and asked if they had a flux capacitor. That's awesome. That's one of my favorite movies as a kid. I really, really am a big fan of that movie. So, yep. The next thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I think we're seeing our first effect of the WFP and the CrossFit Games season happening at the same time. And Barbell Spin reported this probably today, maybe last night. They talked about it on their show last night, that there are a group of athletes that are electing to skip the French Throwdown for the WFP Tour Event 1. So most of these are European athletes are making the choice to fly to the United States, compete in Indianapolis for the WFP instead of going to the French Throwdown to try to qualify for the CrossFit Games. And where I think that it's not the athletes going that I think is affecting CrossFit and the CrossFit Games season directly. I think what it is CrossFit made the decision that they wanted to be more hands-off this year, and they wanted to pass on the liability and the responsibility of qualifying athletes to the games to partners, and they were going to take a hands-off approach. So now you have this partner in the French Throwdown that has been a partner of CrossFit for many, many years, and they are losing a good chunk of their field to another event from a competing league. And I'm wondering if this continues to happen moving forward. Is CrossFit going to lose these trusted and loyal partners because they're not filling their seats or not able to sell tickets because the best athletes are walking away from competing there? Lynn makes this point. TTT raised this point. They are competing for 2 spots in a live competition and online for 10. Which would you rather? I think it depends on the athlete. I mean, if you listen to Abby Domit last night on Barbell Spin, she hates online competition. She doesn't do well in online competition. She would rather go to an in-person place to compete. And she actually viewed Mayhem as her one shot to get in. So she mentally was focused on that one shot to get in because that is what is more beneficial to her. And she does not like online competitions. I look at my 2 co-hosts from Sunday night, Carolyn and Jamie. Carolyn loves competing online. She's done it a bunch in her career. She loves it. She does really well in it. She's finished top 5 in the Open the last 2 years. And then you take someone like Jamie who hates competing online. She would much rather race someone side by side and do that as a way to qualify for different things. So I think that you have to really look at the individual athlete. And maybe that's a good point to bring up on Sunday night where maybe we can talk about competing online versus competing in person and preferences, because I think you'll get a good counterbalance between the two of them because they do really feel differently about that specifically. So, but I do think the French Throwdown is not going to be happy that all these athletes are leaving, whether the athletes choose to compete online or in person. They only have so many shots, and just walking away from one shot to compete for the games for the opportunity at WFP in the Challenger Series or as a challenger to it is a risk as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. And I'm not saying that this is like the nail in a coffin or anything like that. I just think that it's the first like real effect we're seeing from the WFP season happening at the exact same time as the CrossFit Games season. Meredith says it depends on if your strong suit is online versus exactly. Corey says, I'm with Jamie. I abhor online qualifiers. Line us up and let us go. I mean, take Corey, for example, at the Masters Fitness Collective a couple years ago. He is the last person in the door, and he won an event and nearly won a second, because he's so much better in person than he is online. And there's a lot of people that are opposite of that. This whole Kale Lehman thing's been happening all week. That is a complete flip. So interesting there. Has the French Throwdown announced their prices? That I don't know. With everything that's been going on in my personal life, Lynn, I have not had the opportunity to keep up with all those details as much as I'd like. But now that Mama's home and she's feeling better, and then if I can get my daughter moved to Montana, hopefully things slow down for me a little bit, and I can start following up on those things a little bit more. When we look at the in-person qualifying events, we actually have a week off this week. There is none happening this week, and the next one that goes live is Copa Sur, which is the week after this. So this weekend, no CrossFit qualifying event. The following weekend, we have Copa Sur in Brazil, I believe it is. And so we'll get some people from South America qualified to the games. But I am interested to know if they've done anything about their prize money yet. So we have that. The other thing I was going to look at today with you guys is I have a software that kind of helps me with SEO with the podcast and stuff like that. But it also shows me some numbers with other sites as I go out on them. And so I wanted to pull up Mayhem. And Lynn said she went to dig, but didn't pull up anything on money for French Throwdown. So I don't know if you can see it, but over here on this side of I'll try to blow it up a little bit. Over here, I have a summary of some information from day one of the Mayhem Classic. So this is the live stream from YouTube. You can see that there. Here are the view totals after a week. We're a little bit short of a week, but I thought this was a good time to kind of look at the view numbers. So there was 198,000 total views for the day one stream of the Mayhem Classic. There were 55 comments and 2,850 likes on the video. There was also an additional 151 likes from Facebook. So this must have not only broadcast on YouTube, but also on Facebook as well. So 200,000, just under 200,000 views for day one. If we look at day two, the numbers slide a little bit, which actually surprised me because everything was so close after day one. I thought that the numbers would be as good, if not better. So this, just to show, this is live Mayhem Classic day two, and we have 189,000 views, just about 10,000 views shorter than day one. There were 43 comments, a little bit less, and 2,200 likes with only 18 likes from Facebook. So less likes, less comments, and about 10,000 less views for Mayhem, but still, 190,000 views for a qualifying event going to the CrossFit Games. My question to you guys is, are those good numbers? Do you think those are good numbers for what we expected for people to tune in? I kind of expected them to be a little bit more. With the field they had, with as close as the races were, I thought we'd see a little more viewership over the 2 days than what we see here. I'm anxious to see what you guys thought. If you thought it'd be more or less. I thought that the broadcast was really well done. I thought that Rich and Angelo were funny. I thought Sean was loose and had a lot of fun during the broadcast. I thought uh, the announcers on the floor, Rory and Bella, did a great job with the interviews. And it was a condensed weekend where you didn't have to spend a whole day watching. It didn't start until late, like 4 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday, and was done by 5 or 6 on Sunday. So I don't know. I guess I expected a little bit more. Jose thought he thought the expectations were lower. So okay. Meredith said the stream seems solid, didn't have major issues. I agree. I'm just curious. Like, I guess I don't really know what numbers they were looking for, but I thought that they were solid numbers. I thought they'd be a little bit over 200K, like 250 maybe, for the weekend, just because of it being Mayhem, being a more intimate setting, with a great field with some popular athletes. I don't know. That's just what I thought. I guess I was wrong a little bit, but still solid numbers. I think that enough to be proud of. And I think I heard Rich say that they broke even on the event until he offered up the extra $6,000 at the end, 3 for the winner of the last event for each male and female. So if they broke even on the event with the broadcast they pulled off and the event they pulled off, that's actually pretty good in year one. It's going to be interesting to see how they do going forward. Jose, I think they are solid. Maybe they felt it was going to have Waza vibes with streaming. It was way better than Waza. Way, way better. They actually brought the games guy in to run the production behind the scenes. So I think that was why the stream was pretty solid from a production standpoint. We didn't have any glitches. I think I only saw one camera go down while they were on the floor. But that's going to happen. That happens at football games in the NFL. So that's going to happen too. Lynn says that it was $200 a ticket with no seats. I know. I think that's, and if you heard Dave in his week in review, like he loved the way it came off, and that they're going to lean into like maybe some bigger affiliates hosting some of these events to keep it in the affiliate, but it's going to mean more boutique ticket sales, meaning you're going to have great venue, great access, all that kind of stuff, but you're going to have to pay for it as well. Corey said the stream was fantastic. First event of the season. Most Mayhem athletes don't think I expected there to be huge numbers on the streams. I guess I'm just a nerd and I don't realize like that I am part of this really small group that wants to watch everything. And then Jose brings up the point. It was great revenue for Cookeville because lots of people coming to the town, athletes, their entourages, the crowds, different media outlets. That was pretty cool. Train to Live, the drones during the run was epic. Yeah. Until the one crashed. But yeah, that was epic. And but they've done that before. The Games has done that with the runs out of the stadium. And then when they do like the little 400s and come back in, they did that in 23 and 21 when they had to run out of the Coliseum and back in Madison. And they actually flew the drones in the door of the Coliseum out onto the floor, and then it would follow people back out. It was pretty wild. So yeah. So I thought we'd just take a look at those. Just some interesting numbers to kind of look at. And it's going to be interesting now going forward. Those were the numbers of Mayhem. What are the other in affiliate semifinals or not an affiliate, in-person semifinal is going to look like from a number basis as we go forward. Corey says $200 for boutique experience isn't terrible for the access it looked like people got right on top of the athletes from what it looked like for every event. Yeah. When I was at Mayhem in 20, when they did the first Mayhem Classic, they actually did have one set of bleachers, like for the lack of a better term, at the finish line. So you got that staggered up, and it was probably only like 8 to 10 rows of bleachers. So still pretty small and intimate and that boutique feel. And then the sidelines and the start line were what you saw at this Mayhem Classic, where it was just standing room only on the fence. Lynn brings up which is great, Jose, but if that's pricey if you're driving in, hotels, food, you'd just rather stream it. Yeah, unless you want to support Cookeville. But I will say this too, Lynn, like when I went to Cookeville, it was one of the cheapest places to get a hotel, to get food from all of the places that they have semifinals and other events. I found that to be way more doable from an expense standpoint than other places that I've gone to in the past for other events. Like that West Coast semifinal in Pasadena 2 years ago, I spent so much money getting Jamie and I out there. The hotel was just insane. Where in Cookeville, I would in 20, like I got a hotel room for under $100 a night. It was crazy. Yeah, that I don't know, Lynn. I don't know when the tickets were released because I knew I couldn't get there with everything I've had going on. So, but Cookeville's one of those places. If you've never been, you got to go. I mean, Mayhem is, the pictures don't do it justice. It is just a massive, massive building. And it's the Mecca for CrossFit. You have to be, you have to go if you get the opportunity. It's so much fun there. And then there's a part of Cookeville, the town, that's very old school, like sidewalks and little boutique shops and a Ralph's Donuts and an ice cream shop, like really cool stuff. Really, if I had to pick a place in the world to live the rest of my life, retired, Cookeville might be it. Jose says Media Pit was limited too, but luckily they limited media credentials and was still able to get a few good shots. Cool. That's awesome. I heard that the media team there did a really good job communicating everything out. So that was awesome too. So the last thing I just wanted to talk about is I've been doing this podcast now for 5.5 years. The reason I started it was kind of a twofold thing. When CrossFit had their original podcast and Savon was doing it, it was the first podcast. It introduced me to podcasts. I was such a geek into the CrossFit space to have a podcast dedicated to the thing that I loved. I would listen to every episode. And so that got me introduced to podcasts. And then Pat McAfee was next for me. And he was a big inspiration because of all the people that told him no, that he couldn't do sports media, that he tried to get into the NFL program that helps people move on to sports media. He got denied 4 times. And so he decided to build his own thing. And he did that by going to Barstool Sports for a minute. Then he left them and opened and started his own thing, started a podcast. It grew into a YouTube channel, which then grew into being licensed by SiriusXM and a couple other places, CBS. And then that led to a deal with DraftKings, I believe it was. And then after that, then he got the deal with ESPN where his show is licensed there. And now he's one of the biggest things in sports media. But because like he did it for nothing to start that all up. And when people told him no and where he got it to, I've admired the work ethic and the stick to itiveness that he has had throughout the whole process. But last night was his big night out in Pittsburgh. I grew up just outside of Pittsburgh. And so I was super excited to watch this thing that he was putting together as like a thank you to his hometown and something that he had envisioned after years of spending time with his grandmother watching variety shows. I will say I was so excited. The bar was probably set way too high in my head. And when it came on, there was a little bit of a letdown for me. I was really excited to see it. He did some storytelling on the front end of just how his career developed and growing up a Pittsburgher and what that meant and all of that kind of stuff, which was pretty cool. And then Jelly Roll came out and sang some songs. And then it got weird and they did some sumo wrestling and stuff that I didn't understand. There was also one of the new wrestlers that I didn't really know him very well came out. And just when I was about to give up on it, out came Wiz Khalifa, who, if you don't know who that is, he sings the song Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow. And in Pittsburgh, that's a huge song. And he is a native Pittsburgher as well. And so he came out and sang that song as well as the work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. I don't know the names of those songs, but he did that. And then he said he's going to bring out a buddy of his, and Snoop Dogg came out. And man, I was so freaking pumped up. I don't know what it is about live music and people like Snoop that never disappoint performing live, but it just flipped that whole show for me. I could sit and watch Snoop and his buddies do whatever they wanted to do on stage for a while, but it was awesome. Still a little bit of a letdown overall for being such a huge McAfee fan. I don't know where they're going from this. I like their normal show better than I like this special thing that they did. But the concert stuff was really cool. The production was done by WWE as a favor to Pat. So there was a lot of cool like visuals and lights and LED boards and all of that stuff. But yeah, it was just sharing with you. He's an inspiration to me. He's always been an inspiration to me to do this thing. And it was fun to watch him kind of hit this epic moment where he got to do a show in front of an arena in Pittsburgh. They sold out PPG Arena in Pittsburgh, which is where the Penguins play hockey. It's probably an 18,000 seat arena, and they sold floor seats as well. So probably 20,000 people there to watch him kind of give thanks for everything that the fans had given him. He gave away millions of dollars last night in giveaways, which was really cool to give back to his fans that way. But I would love it. I would love it if you're listening to this podcast and you have an inspiration that got you to where you are today. I would love to hear who that is and why they're your inspiration in the comments. I think that would be something fun to read through and maybe revisit on tomorrow's show when I see what comes in. Because I'd love to know who the inspirational people are out there in the world who give people that little oomph to do what they're doing a little bit better. And so, yeah, if you have somebody that's inspired you to get to where you are today or to do the things that you do, throw it in the comments. Give me a reason why, and maybe we'll read those comments tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Yeah, it's people still talking about Mayhem being so close. D. Reed talks about that they were within arm's length of the athletes. Yeah, it Mayhem does a great job with that intimate setup for sure. You are right on top of the action. You saw the athletes giving high fives, and when they were crashing into that final buzzer, many times they were crashing right into the wall where the spectators were, and the spectators were the only soft part of that landing, uh, other than the metal barricade. So that was pretty cool. Well, Jody, I talked about my review off the top, but you were late. Um, it went fine. Where I work, they don't give anything but meets or below meets expectations. Um, and I don't know why it's become this way, but it's made the review like meaningless, because my boss would say, "Hey, I've been receiving a lot of kudos about you doing this X, Y, and Z," and then he would say, "So you meet expectations." Well, that's not true, because people are getting more than what they expected, but I just so it is what it is. It was a good review for what they do with the state. My boss did give me a lot of kudos in the review. Nothing bad came out of it. Um, and like I said, I am at a retirement age where I could walk out the door tomorrow, and get a check the rest of my life. And but at this point, it's not enough to live on. So I'm just trying to get as many years in as I can to increase that that check for what it is. So any review that I get that doesn't have a performance plan in it or anything like that is a good thing, because that means I'm nowhere near being laid off or fired. So that's where I'm at. Um, like 5 years. So when I first got in with the state, I worked my ass off to go up the ladder. Um, and I did that. I got my master's degree. I went up the ladder. I got up to upper middle management, just high enough to be the scapegoat on stuff. And then when new governors come in, I become the scapegoat, and then I have to go down a few notches. Then I have to work my way up, and then I become the scapegoat again. I go down with the new governor, and then I work my way up. And I got tired of that roller coaster about 5 years ago. So when they took me back down, and I used to be the guy they would bring into a unit to clean it up. And then once I got it all clean, then they'd hand it off to their friend, which it just got to be this repetitive thing that I started hating. And so the last time they moved me down, I just said, screw it. I'm not moving back up there only to clean up everybody's mess and then be demoted back down for their friend to get the job and get the kudos for everything moving forward. So I got really disgruntled. And that's actually when I started this podcast 5.5 years ago, because I just wanted to do something different and I didn't care about my job anymore. And I got my ears pierced. I got my tattoo on my arm, and I said, screw it. I'm not corporate anymore. And I've just been kind of riding my time out where I'm at. So evaluations haven't meant anything, but I do think I want to make one more move before I retire, because your retirement is based on your last 3 years of work, highest 3 years of earnings during your work experience. And the level right above me, I could do in my sleep. And it doesn't have anybody reporting to them. And so I did tell my boss that I would like to make a run at those jobs if someone leaves. And he was all for that, and said he would help in that effort. So I do think that, and I'm going to have to go back to the office by the end of this year anyway. So if I'm going to be in the office, I'm going to be forced to be there to do different things. I might as well move up and make some more money while I'm doing it. And just make that last little hitch. It's two pay grade increase. And so I'm making a little bit more money before that to base my retirement on, when I walk away. But everything that I'm trying to do at this point is just to build that up so that my wife and I can retire and we can still go do all the fun stuff around the country, especially like for me in this CrossFit space, and keep the podcast going, um, and not have to worry about the finances of that. So that was probably way more than anybody wanted to know. But that's my story. And I try to be an open book so you guys kind of know what's going on. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I passed my evaluation, and but I've been with the state 22 years. If I get to 30, it's a full retirement. I'll make exactly what I'm making working if I make it to 30 after I'm done working. So it's the thing. Working in government is not glamorous at all. And what used to be like really good benefits and really good retirement is still pretty good, but it's not what it used to be. And we don't make the wages that the private sector makes. And you kind of get bounced around a lot, based on, there's actually laws that say they can move me, because I'm an exempt employee. They can move me anywhere, anytime, any place, without notice. And that goes for anybody that's an exempt employee with the state. They can just, it's like they call it section 19. And they can just say, hey, we're going to move you from here over to here, and you're going to do this job now. And so you're kind of at their mercy. And I really tried to like change my perception of, like, I used to have them up here and they had me down here. And I decided to even that up a little bit, where I'm going to hold them in the same place they hold me, and no more than that. And I was going to hold my family higher, and I was going to hold my faith higher and those things higher. So, because that's what's supporting me day to day, not my job. My job pays my check, but my family and my faith and my friends, they're what keep me going, and they're my support all the time. And so that's where I put them in the priority chain. So, Jay Birch, I wish it was just other duties required. We have that too. You get to stay in the job you're at, but you have to do other things. They actually can physically move me from one office to another office, doing something completely different, from start to finish. It's insane. D Reed, I'm at the leave me alone stage of work. That's where I was 5.5 years ago. I just would go in. We were still in the office. I would go in. I would sit in the corner. I would put my headphones on, and I would do my job. And I just wanted everybody to leave me alone. Not a fun place to be. Not a fun place to be. But I'm getting better there, and I'm trying to get my mind around going back into the office, and getting mentally prepared for that. But the people that have been called back, like they're still on Teams meetings. None of them, because they forced everybody back to every space available. There's no place to hold a meeting. So all the meetings are still on Teams, and everybody's wearing headphones, because if not, you're hearing everybody's meetings in this big mass space with all these desks. And so everybody's just sitting in their cubicle with headphones on, watching their screens, and it's no different than if we were at home. And 3 of my coworkers got called back, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're sitting there with their headphones on, doing the same meetings on their computer that they were doing at home, just in a desk. And they're saying it's very antisocial. Like, there's nobody getting up and talking or anything like that, because you're in this condensed space, because there's just no room for all the desks. ACR, I wish these kids would give me an upgrade in wages. I bet they are good at the opposite. They suck the wages. As I'm preparing to take my daughter across the country to Montana, that's going to be hard and awesome all at the same time. Jay Birch, oh yeah, I've been moved before to teach classes in the middle school and the high school one time rather than just the high school. Yeah. I know teachers have that too. I know I have friends that like they were a fourth grade teacher and all of a sudden they were told, nope, you're teaching second grade this year. So yeah. And yeah, I think that Train to Live is talking about the amen to that, the new priority list that I came up with after I realized where my job placed me. So, well, this has been a good fun talk, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. If you didn't see Cat's show, it aired last night at 5 p.m. It's still available for replay out there if you want to go check that out. And then we will be back tomorrow with Lunch with the Clydesdale. And Sunday night, Carolyn, Jamie, and I will be back to do the full Sunday night CrossFit talk. Lynn says random, but will we please have age group video review discussion on Sunday? I am betting 100% because that's been nothing. Our chat, our text string with Jamie and Carolyn has been nothing but age group video review. So I am sure that is going to be a number one thing to discuss on Sunday night. What a joke that has become. Thought it was going to be a good thing, but they missed one aspect of it. And because they missed that one aspect of it, it is one huge joke. All right, guys, I got to get back to work. Time for you knuckleheads to get back to work too. We'll see everybody tomorrow on Lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys.